today for Women's Day, one is to really reflect. The word is reflect. And the reason why I say that is because many times it's not until we hit a crossroads or a crisis, it's not until many times we hit and face some calamity that we sit back and really analyze our lives and reflect about who we are not, reflect on what we want out of our lives, what we need, our expectations. And on this Women's Day, I want to encourage all of us just to pause and to reflect about who we are and how we're showing up in the world, reflect on how we are navigating in the world, and really ask ourselves, are we positioning ourselves to be our best selves? I heard a quote many times from Bishop Pearson. He says that it's important for all of us to reflect on one, what's acting on us and really causing us pressure, what's acting in us, which is causing us pain, and also what's acting as us. Are we really showing up as who we really are? Are we showing up as an imposter or a shapeshifter, a masquerader? So I think it's so important for us to think about and reflect on how are we showing up? Are we showing up as our best self? So that's a question that I think is so important for all of we women to ask ourselves. Hey, Tanika and Anika. The second question, or something that I would invite us to think about, is to resist being liked. On this Women's Day, I think it's so important for us to understand that it's okay not to be liked by everyone. I know it's important and it feels good to feel that people agree with us, people applaud us, people we are endear ourselves to people. But the truth is that if we try to have people to like us, we become people pleasers. We become pacifiers. We become placaters. And as a result, we end up making everybody happy except for ourselves. I think it's so important to understand that it's okay to be liked, but it's okay not to be liked. Because in this life, we have to really follow our own conscience and not the crowd. I think it's so important that we think that we are conductors in our lives. And conductors, they have to turn their back to the crowd so that they can conduct themselves and make decisions for themselves that honor themselves. So I think it's so important on this Women's Day to really resist the need to be liked, resist the need to be in the in crowd, resist the need for approval. Because anytime we need approval, we allow our identity, our self-esteem to be in the hands of someone else. And we never want to do that. My pastor said that this statement, and I'll never forget it. He says, it's better to be hated for who you are than to be liked for who you are not. I'm going to say that again. It's better to be hated for who you are than to be liked for who you are not. So on this International Women's Day, I encourage you, as I encourage myself, to resist the need to be liked, resist the need to go along to get along, resist the need to follow the crowd, and resist the need to need consensus, because your life is not a game sport or a team sport. And I think it's so important that we follow our conscience, that we follow our calling, that we follow what's important to us. Because if not, we'll always be pawns, we'll always be parrots, we'll always be puppets in our own lives. So I want to encourage us to resist the need to feel liked. I think it's also important, the third thing I would say on this International Women's Day is to rebel against anything that subjugates you. I think it's so important when we think about our lives. There's so many ways that women are subjugated, or people expect us to subjugate ourselves. We think of politically, in some ways we are expected to subjugate ourselves to men, economically, financially. And I just want to encourage all of us to rebel against anything that tries to limit us, anything that tries to demean us, anything that tries to keep us in our place, whatever that means. I want to encourage women that every place is our place. And it's not something that we should do or even consider to try to confine ourselves, to limit ourselves, to make someone else feel good. Rebel against anything that threatens to allow you to be all that you can be. Limit anything or rebel against anything that subjugate you, rebel against anything that fails to liberate you in mind, body, and spirit. Rebel. We have to fight. Liberation comes at a cost, and sometimes for us to fully liberate ourselves, we will lose some friends, we will lose some people in our lives, we will lose some things, we will lose some money. But I'd rather live a life of freedom than a life of bondage. And I would never allow a person to put me in bondage because they want me or expect me to be something that I am not. So I think on this Women's Day, I want to encourage women to rebel against anything that fails to honor your total essence. Rebel. Always know that you can liberate yourself and that you don't have to succumb to whatever someone says you are, that you have a right to define yourself. So I would say that's the third thing. The fourth thing I want to say is to recruit. Recruit the right people in your lives. And I think for us to, in order to do that, we have to make sure that we are attractive. And I don't mean on the outside. I mean that people are attracted to people who are growth oriented, people who are powerful and positive and patient. So if you want positive, purposeful people in your life, you have to be attractive, because the truth is you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So if you're a positive and productive and purposeful, you will attract that. But if you're low down to the floor down, if you're slimy, shady, shaky, flimsy, fragile, fragmented, you're going to attract all of that. Because the truth is, birds of a feather flock together. So we have to make sure that we attract and recruit people in our lives, people who are have intellectual horsepower, people who are emotionally stable, people who are spiritually grounded. We have to be attractive so that people are drawn to us. Confident people are magnets, and that's why people want to hang around other confident people. So I think it's important that we think about how we are showing up in the world. Are we showing up from a place of power, or are we showing up from a place of weakness? Are we showing up strong? Are we showing up weak? Are we showing up better, or are we showing up bitter? We have to really analyze how we are showing up, because you will attract, again, what you are, not who you want. So I think that's important to make sure we are recruiting the right people in our lives that stretch us out of our comfort zone, people who can model excellence, people who can model greatness, people who can be a mirror of all that we aspire to be. I think that so many times if we get mad that we have a lot of what I call gutter dwellers in our lives, but hey, if you play in the gutter, you're going to attract gutter people. So I think we have to make sure that we are showing up from a place of integrity, showing up from a place of truth, because nobody cares if you have good charisma but you have no character. Nobody cares that if you're talented but you're toxic. Nobody cares if you're fine but you're not functional. Nobody cares if you're pretty but you're poisonous. Nobody cares that you're smart but you're sleazy. So we got to ask ourselves, how are we showing up? And make sure we recruit those people in our lives who can bring help, hope, and healing into our lives. So on this Women's Day, I hope that we think about that. The fifth thing I would say I would love for women to consider is to refuse to be a follower. I think that many times we follow too closely to other people and we lose our own way. I think it's important to follow from a place of being a student and not a slave. I think many times people have great ideas, but at the end of the day, you have to make decisions for your life, and I have to make decisions for my life. So I think it's important to follow people, to get information, to get inspiration, to get knowledge, but never be a slave to someone else's perspective. Do your own research. Never be a slave to someone else's ethos. Never be a slave to somebody else's understanding. Even as a minister, I don't follow other pastors. I don't care if they're Reverend such and much or Bishop Tutu or apostle such and such. It doesn't matter. I can read the Bible for myself. So I think it's important for us to understand, to follow, but never to be a slave, never to be a servant of someone else's perspective, never be a servant of someone else's thinking, never be a slave or a servant of someone else's way of navigating in the world. Think for yourself, follow yourself, be a student and learn, but never be a slave. And I think that's really a key on this Women's Day. And then I think the sixth thing I want to say is to be open to rewrite your script. I think so many times when in life we see that something's not working, but instead of making adjustments, we continue to ride the train when the train is riding us into a ditch. At sometimes in our lives, I think it's okay to say, you know what, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. This is not working for me. This doesn't make my heart sing. This doesn't make me feel good about me. This no longer honors me. And I think it's so important for us to be able to know when to say no. That's no something no longer serves us, when something no longer sustains us, when something no longer satisfies us. And it's okay to call that. I think sometimes we don't want to say quit, but quitting is a good strategy sometimes. And I tell people it's okay to ride and die, to be a ride and die friend, but I'm not going to ride if it means I have to die. I will quit everything, but I will never quit myself. I will never quit God. I will quit a job. I will quit a career. I will quit an organization, but I will never quit myself. And I will never quit my relationship with God. I will never quit being a mother. So even if you have a plan, be open to reinvention. Be open to re-engineering your life. Be open to rewriting the script. Just because you wrote a script 10 years ago does not mean it's something that you continue to follow. Don't be loyal to something that's not serving you. So rewrite your script. If it's not serving you, make an adjustment. Refresh it, reinvent yourself, re-energize yourself, reevaluate every relationship, everything in your life. Don't be loyal if it means that you have to limit yourself. Don't ride or die if you have to die. I have always said I will quit anything and everybody but myself. So I hope that you will take this time to rewrite your script, to rewrite what's meaningful to you. Rewrite something that no longer serves you or works for you. You get one life, and what you want to do is make sure that you're living it in a way that makes your heart sing, in a way that makes you soar, and not in a way that makes you sink to the abyss of despair. So I think that's really important. So on this Women's Day, rewrite your script. If it's not working for you, change it. I did a video last year that if you don't like the music, change the song. Change the song and do something that really makes your heart sing. The seventh thing I would like to say on this Women's Day is to remind yourself of your worth. I think every day we have to remind ourselves that we are amazing, that we're beautiful, that we're powerful, that we're bold. It is so important to understand that anything we build starts from the inside out. You build a business, it starts on your internal infrastructure. You build a marriage, your internal infrastructure. You build a plan, a strategy, internal infrastructure. You can never go up without going in first. You got to go in, because if not, if we don't go in and correct those things in our lives that really have us feeling insecure, feeling like we're a failure, we'll never go to our highest heights. I think it's so important, and I always say it, and I'm going to say it again, that our private pain shows up in public ways. And many times we sabotage our own selves because we have not dealt with the intestinal issues that are in our spirits. You know, I always say that we have to continue to remind ourselves that we're wonderful, but we also have to remind ourselves that there's work to do, because we are always a work in progress. We have never arrived. And if we have arrived, you're in trouble, because we are always learning, we're always evolving, and we're always growing. So remind yourself of your worth, because everything you do in life has to sit on a platform of self-worth. This is a platform of self-worth. Everything grows up from develops, or it's built from a platform of self-worth. No self-worth, you can never grow. Hi, Kai. Also, I want to say the eighth thing today is to reconnect to things that made you strong. I think in our lives, we disconnected from people because we didn't know how to be in relationship with them, because we didn't know how to be in relationship with ourselves. And sometimes some of the people who were our greatest advocates, we disconnected from them because we didn't know how to be in relationship and handle conflict and how to communicate in a way that really celebrated both parties. So I say reconnect with people that really served you. Reconnect your relationship with God. I'm not trying to be overly spiritual, but I think everything in life is spiritual. Everything is energy. And so I want to encourage you to reconnect to anything that makes you strong, and also reconcile. Now, I did say reconcile. I didn't say reinstate, because sometimes we can reconcile with people, but they don't get their position back. You burn. So even though I forgive you, that will mean that we're going to be friends and all up like this. So I think it's important for us to reconcile, not for them, but for us. Forgiveness is a gift that you give for yourself also. So reconnect. And hey, Dr. Talisha. And then I want to say the ninth thing today is to renew your mind. I think when we renew our mind, we're talking about new thoughts, transformative thinking, because our mind affects a couple of things. Our mind affects our mood. And if we think negative thoughts, we're going to have negative feelings. It's really interesting. You can't feel good with a bad mind. You know what I'm saying? So our thoughts affect our mood. Our thought affects our mouth, because many times we say things out of anger and out of pain. Our mind, what we think, affects our members of our family. So we have to make sure that we are having positive thoughts, thoughts of optimism, thoughts of healing, and our thoughts. Our mind affects our money. You cannot make money, attract money, keep money if you don't have a mindset of abundance, a mindset of possibility, a mindset of potential. So I want to invite you to think about that. How is your mind working for you, and how is your mind working against you? Because everything starts with the renewing of our mind. Everything starts with the renewing of our thoughts. Our thoughts have power, and our thoughts affect our mood, affects our money, affects our members, affects our mouth, and affects our mannerisms. For example, if you feel like you're not confident, your body's going to show it. So it's important to know how you think about yourself is going to affect how you navigate in the world. And I hope you navigate from a place of power. And last thing I would say is rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Today is a new day, a day that the Lord has made. And every new day is a new opportunity to get it right. And it's a new opportunity to try new. And thank God for new beginnings. I don't know about you. Every day I need some new mercy, because I use up all the mercy from the previous day. So I think it's so important to rejoice that you have another opportunity. Rejoice that you have an opportunity to get it right. Rejoice that you have an opportunity to try again. New beginnings. So on this Women's Day, I just want to wish you well. And again, reflect, know who you are, know who you are not, know what you need, know what you want, know what you desire, know your gifts, know your talents, know your weaknesses. You should not be a surprise to you. And that's why if you know who you are, nobody can tell you about yourself. You might have blind spots, but nobody should be able to tell you something about yourself and you're totally surprised. Reflect on who you are. Take inventory about who you are. Because if you know who you are, you can embrace the truth and release every lie, every limit, every label, every limitation that the world places on you. So reflect. 2, resist the need to be liked. You don't need to be liked by the crowd. Follow your own conscience, not the crowd. The crowd does not know you. The crowd does not love you. The crowd will not celebrate you. Remember, you are a conductor in your life, which means that you have to turn your back to the crowd and do you from a place of power. Do you from a place of self-love. Do you from a place of self-respect. Do you from a place of power. Remember, you don't need to please somebody. You don't need to pacify somebody. You don't need to placate somebody. You don't need to make room in your life for somebody's pathology. You don't need to make room for somebody's incompetence. You don't need to make room in your life for somebody's arrogance nor their ignorance. You don't have to make room for anything that doesn't serve you. You don't have to dance with somebody's deception. You don't have to dance with somebody's dysfunction. You don't have to dance with somebody's deceit. You don't have to dance. You don't have to flirt with somebody's foolishness, and you don't have to entertain somebody's cray-cray. So I just want to make sure we know that. So invest in yourself. Third thing, rebel against anything that fails to honor you, fails to to honor your dignity, fails to rob you of your power. And remember, it's not the outer demons that we have to rebel against. We also have to rebel against the inner demons that live in our head. A teacher told me this one time before. I want to get it right. She says, fight the demons in your head, kill the fear, kill it dead. Fight the demons in your head, kill the fear, kill it dead. One of my teachers told me that, and I never forgot that. So fight the demons in your head, kill the fear, kill it dead, so that you can be your best self. And then recruit the right people in your life. Being in your life should never be a guaranteed position. Is a gift. I tell people all the time, being in my life is a gift. You don't play your position, you will not be in my life, because you are a queen, I'm a queen, and people need to treat us like royalty, and we have to also treat people like royalty. So make sure you get the right people in your life. Make sure you always are growing, always developing, because if you're not growing, you can't add value to you, and you can't add value to anybody else. 5, refuse to be a follower. Always be a student, always be a learner. But if you follow too closely, you'll lose your own way. And your way might be the right way. Your way might be the wrong way. But study moved, and then you will have the information and knowledge that you need to be your best self. Again, the 6 is rewrite the script. If something's not working for you, make some adjustments. I don't care if you have a plan. I don't care if you have a strategy. Always be married to the goal, but date the plan. I'm going to say it again. Be married to the goal. Be married to your calling, but date the plan. Remember, plans should be adjusted based on how the plan is working for you. Be okay to rewrite your script. You are the author of your life. You don't have to stay connected. It's okay to say, I quit. It's okay to say no. And if anything that fails to honor you, you can quit it. Only person you can't quit is yourself. I've been married twice. I've been divorced twice. I will quit someone if they fail to honor all of who I am. My essence is not negotiable. And I never negotiate the non-negotiables. Have borders in your life, and then you can rewrite the script based on the borders that keep you safe. Remind yourself, 7, that you are worth it. Remind yourself that you are worth your self-care. Remind yourself that you are worth your investment. Remind yourself that you are worth your time first. Give yourself your best first. You deserve yourself. And make sure you always have a platform of self-worth. Threatens the foundation of your self-worth, gotta go. You don't have to talk about it. We don't have to have a conversation. Your self-worth is not for sale. And then reconnect. We connect with people who served you, who supported you, because again, sometimes we broke off people because we didn't have the relationship skills to be in relationship with them. But now we're growing. Now you're more mature. So reconnect with people who served you, who supported you. But also, if you do reconcile, remember, you don't have to reinstate. Reconcile is one thing, reinstate is another. And make sure you make those changes that support you. Always remember to be renewing your mind, to grow. We're always in this place of evolution. To remember to grow so you can be your best self. And guess what? You never will totally self-actualize, because there's more information you know, the more you realize you know. Remember, if you know it all, you don't know much. We're always a growing. We're always in transitioning. To God be the glory. And just know that rejoice. Today is a new day. This is the day that the Lord has made. We can rejoice and be glad in it, because we have an opportunity. And if you got it wrong yesterday, you have a chance to get it right. So I just want to say happy Women's Day to all women, all mothers, all sisters, all aunts, all godmothers, all grandmothers, every person who shows up. As a female, I want to say happy International Women's Day. And also to my co-authors and to the strength of my soul, happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day to every woman who opens her life and opens her testimony to elevate others. And then I want to encourage you to, if we're not connected, let's connect on Facebook. Let's connect on my website, please. Try for your Dare to Soar Higher coaching guide, and that will put you into my newsletter, so I can always send information to you. If you have not, I want to encourage you to get my new book, Deciding to Soar. It's quotes, it's quick nuggets of wisdom. And if you had it, great. I appreciate your prayers and support. If you haven't not purchased it, please do. But if not, if you have purchased it, please go write a review. Also, I look forward to seeing some of you. I'm going to be doing a book tour pretty soon, and I'm grateful to God for that. So happy Women's Day. Let's stay connected. Dare to soar higher in your personal and professional life. Why? Because you have a job to do and you have a God to glorify. Blessings to you always, and dare to soar higher, higher, and higher. God bless you.